What's up, class, and welcome to another lesson in the No Mod Shop class here on the Skooled Zone. Today, I'll be showing you how to create that really cool giant illuminated potted fern display you saw in my Vault 42 build. It's something really cool you can add to a little like plaza area in your settlements, but it's a tiny bit trickier than it looks, which is why I didn't do it during the blue circle lessons. But before we get to that, I have something else really cool to show you real quick. So as you know, I have a very active Patreon account with a bunch of amazing supporters. One of the perks I added recently was the opportunity to have me build you a custom room in one of my settlements. You get to design it, get your name on the wall, and then have it showcased during one of my build videos. Well, we recently had someone jump on that tier, so I went to work customizing a room for him. His name is Scott, and he goes by the nickname Rᴇғᴇʀᴇᴅ. He didn't give me a whole lot of direction, actually. He wanted to leave it mostly up to my creativity. But he did give me two elements to run with. First, he's a huge Star Wars fan, and his favorite gun in Fallout 4 is December's Child. So I told him I could create a little shrine-type display for the gun and surround it with a sci-fi theme. So I built it here at Sunshine Tidings Co-op, and I converted this normally sort of useless house over here into something really cool. It's normally blocked off from the front and there's piles of junk around the back. But I glitched in a vault room using the technique I showed you guys for reflooring Sanctuary, and then I went about building it up inside. And here's the final result. It's kind of a little secret vault bunker here. Got a sentry bot on guard. And here we go. Kate's just sitting on the chair over here chilling. What good posture, Kate. She's just watching some TV or waiting for the program to start or whatever. Okay, so here's what we got here. All right, I'll just start with the little shrine to December's Child there. Pretty cool. Tried to give it a, sort of a modern Art Deco look combined with a sort of sci-fi theme. All right. Rᴇғᴇʀᴇᴅ. I won't go into how I built all this stuff just yet, because some of these can be used for some pretty cool little mini lessons. But yeah, it turned out really well. And if you want to stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you what it looks like at night as well. So there you go. Hope you like it, Scott. And again, I really appreciate the Patreon support. And if anyone else wants to have an exclusive room designed for them in one of my settlements with their name on the wall, head over to my Patreon page and become a supporter. Every little bit gets me closer to doing YouTube full time. All right, now let's get to the main lesson. Man, those clear weather shells don't last very long, do they? Let me just hit that again. Actually, I'm going to turn my HUD opacity back on. Okay, so I was thinking about where this might look good, and I think I want to build it right here. Now, there's a rock in the way, but we're going to go ahead and overcome that. So I'm going to go into workshop mode. Head over to decorations, over to statues. And at the end here, there's this giant fountain. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, but we're going to make good use of it, okay? So I want it right where the rock is. Now, normally, you're probably going to find an area that's completely flat. You won't have to do this. But if you do find an area you really want to build it and there's some natural obstacles in the way, then you can just go ahead and set it down. And then we're going to go over to structures and just grab a post or grab anything that's sinkable. And then I'm just going to group select and just sink that down into the ground. Maybe pull it forward a little bit more. Okay. Perfect. All right, I'm going to set that post aside in case I need it for later. Okay, so here's what you're going to want to do first, all right? So we're going to go over to the wood section. There's multiple ways this can be achieved, but I found this to be the easiest. So we're going to just build some shack stairs. Come on. Good enough. Okay, then I'm going to go over to the concrete section. Floors. get out one of these little mini floors. Set it right there. Okay, and we're going to get out the curved floors. And just build a circle there. And when you get to right here, and you can leave that in if you want, but I just find it a little easier if I go ahead and add a curved floor. Okay. And then we're going to reselect the focus back onto the shack stairs and group select. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to place this metal circle that I created right over the center of the fountain. Now, because of the perspective problems, God, I hope they come up with an isometric view in Fallout 76, you know. But for the time being, you just have to judge your best. And I'm thinking that's probably... I know it looks like it's closer to me, but it's probably going to be farther away than I think. So I'm going to give that a shot. Let's see. Oh, it did end up being a little closer. Okay. That's fine. I'm not going to take the time to correct it because here's what it's really supposed to be used for, okay? So we're going to go ahead and go into the decoration section, miscellaneous, and then we're going to find these nice leafy ferns here, and we're going to start to place these on top of this metal circle. Now, because I didn't get it ramped up to the edge there, I'm going to put these right on the edge. And you're just going to go around and add them pretty much as close as you can. Not right on top of each other, but pretty close. And then as I get over to where there should be the edge, I'll start to pull them in a little bit. Maybe like, let's get this closer. Maybe like that. Now you do want them more gravitated toward the center because the closer they are to the edge, the more you're going to see the pot part of the plant. And really we just want to see the leaves. Now if this isn't perfect, then you're still going to get the concept. All right, so we'll just see how this works. Okay, and then once you have a little circular perimeter of the potted plants, you can add a few more on the inside just to create the illusion of one large fern. Some kind of little jungle you got going on in here. Okay, that's good enough. I think when I did it for my Vault 42 display, I went a little crazy, but I think that should be good. Okay, now from here, we are just going to climb back up these stairs, and we're going to remove the curved floors, and the potted plants should drop right down into place, okay? Perfect. And then one more over here, which might be challenging to reach. There we go. You see it? I got it selected there. Okay. Now you're probably wondering, well, why did I even need those curved floors anyway? Well, it's for some reason these potted plants will drop down onto the copper fountain if you use those curved floors. But if you don't, you can't actually get any support to be able to build them. They just drop right through. So that is the way to do it. Now, to get it lit up, you got a couple of choices. You can add electrical lights. And now that we have the Wi-Fi glitch in our toolbox, you know, it'll actually make this a lot easier if you wanted to use artificial lights. But in my Vault 42 display, I didn't want a bunch of wires, you know, slinking around the potted plant. I guess I could have run them from underneath. But what I did was use candles instead. Now, for some reason, candles will stick to the top inside of the fountain here. You can also place them in the plants themselves. But what I'm going to do from here is try to get them on the actual bottom of the... almost had it there. Come on. Come on. You just rotate them until... I do remember this part took a little while for me. Now, one thing you might want to try to do, which I didn't test out, was you might be able to try to add the candles before you stair glitch the metal circle over the copper fountain. All right, I'm not sure if it'll create any interference, but that might be a way that you can gauge a better distribution of the candles. But anyway, see, whenever you see where it says build and it's highlighted, even though you can't see it, it's possible to build the candles there. So I'm just going to add a few more in here. Okay, that should be good for now. I can always come back to it, and we'll take a look at what it looks like at night. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and store these stairs, and that's pretty much the gist of it right here. Now, if you want to get even fancier, what I did with my giant fern display was add some benches and some little decor around the base of the fountain. So I'll show you how to do that real quick if you also want to do that. So I'm going to head into chairs. I'm going to orient this bench so it's facing me, and then use this bench so I know it's facing the right direction. And unfortunately, it won't go into the fountain on its own. But since I want it a little receded into this curve, a regular post is probably not going to do it. So we're going to stairs glitch it. And if you remember that technique from my junk fence video, I like to use the scaffolding stairs, these ones right here, because we can get kind of far away from the bench and it'll still group select. See? That is too cool. So from here, let me bring it closer and raise it up some. Okay, so from here, I'm going to try to retrofit that into there. Now, oddly enough, once again, you're going to have some perspective problems. So you want to try to get it to where you can just barely not see the legs anymore. So like right about like that. Because if you stick it in too far and the settlers want to sit on it, then their legs will sink into the base of the fountain. So I'm going to go ahead and go for that and see how that looks. All right, good, good. Okay, so I'll just do 2 of these, and then you guys will get the idea. And I'll go get Kate to sit on it for you. Okay, so let's swing around here. You know what? This thing right here, God, I wish I could scrap that. Oh, man. You know, I don't use mods, but if there was one mod I would get, it would be scrap that settlement. Okay. All right, so let's push this over and angle this a bit. Let's see if we can still group select it. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to try to get it perpendicular to that other bench. See if I can get it here. And in between these little additions, I would probably normally quick save. So I'm going to go ahead and go for that. That looks good to me. And then what I think I did was go into decorations and just get out one of these smaller potted plants. And I think I just slid it right in here and just twisted it until I got blue. Let's see here. They do go in, actually. See, I'll do it on this side. So you can sink it in. So if this was on level ground, you would actually be able to fit these right in. But since it's not on level ground, then we might have to rug glitch it. So if you do end up doing this on level ground, you'll actually have a bit of an easier time than this. But it's no trouble at all. So we'll just line up 2 rugs. Pop this onto one of them. Slide that into place. And now probably it should sink down, hopefully. Hopefully it won't pop up. Sometimes it'll pop up if it catches onto the mesh of this object. But let's see if it sinks down a little bit. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so that is how I did that. And you just keep doing, you know, another bench here, and then 3 more potted plants in the corners. So let's run and get Kate, get her to sit on that bench so you can see that settlers still can sit on them. All right, guys, just wanted to pop in real quick and show you some of this footage. I went back and took my time. You know, I was a little rushed during the initial recording of the video, but I went back and took my time and did it right. And if you do take your time, I mean, it's not going to take that much longer. I was just rushing because I always get these comments from people going, you drag out your videos. You know what I mean? So I was like trying to get everything done really fast. But if you go back and take your time, you can actually do it right. It looks really good. One of the things I did was add a little tiny circle of candles on the inside of the fountain closest to the center first before I added the metallic disc on top that you put the plants on. And then what I did was I actually planted myself right in the center and just rotated around the perimeter and added the plants close to each other. And that way you can get a really nice lineup. And then just added some lighting to the bottom plants near the benches. You know, you can squeeze in some candles on top of the plants, or you can try to add some electric lighting. But it turned out really well. As you can see, Kate's just chilling. So I just wanted to jump in and show you this real quick so that if you do take your time, it won't quite look as sloppy as what I did. I was just trying to rush to get everything fit in within a reasonable time frame. All right. So there you go. It looks really awesome. Back to the regularly scheduled video. Okay. And then if you stuck around to the end of the video, let's take a look at this room at night. Got my sentry bot on display. Looking pretty cool. I think it looks best at night, actually. Yeah, it's funny, too, because I didn't even realize these Nuka-Cola quartz actually have illumination. That's all coming from the Nuka-Cola quartz, so that's something to keep in mind. The Nuka-Cola quantums do have a blue glow, but it's not quite as bright as these. So you can actually use these things as little lights, you know, to light stuff up. All right, awesome. Looks so cool at night. I think this turned out really well. I'm pretty proud of it. All right, guys. Well, I hope you found that useful. Many more tips and tricks coming soon, as well as finally another Fallout 4 walkthrough episode. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe and throw a like on the video. And as always, thanks for watching. Happy building and class dismissed.